Caledonian elixir. Broadcasting from Glasgow, Scotland, this is the Caledonian Elixir. I'm your host, Vincent, and you can get involved by calling free from the UK on 0738 745 3353. That's 0738 745 3353. And the international number is also available on this screen too, I believe. Or you can come on by clicking on the link beside the video description. And as usual, if you do that, follow the simple instructions, enter a name, and you can come on the show that way. So whether you agree or disagree, it's free. So call in, click the link, and join the discussion. And also, we are broadcasting live on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, and X. But if you're watching on YouTube or Rumble, you can leave a comment and engage with us and our live stream viewers that way. So first, I'd like to give a shout out to Jimmy Dore, who's a legend and is in Glasgow right now, and who will be doing a show within the next 24 hours, and I may be going to it myself. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, this show, however, is an interzone of information where I discuss everything from politics to the paranormal with guests and callers, and we do it without the bias of mainstream media, and we do it with wit and true grit. So the MAGA sphere, which is an acronym for Make America Great Again, is going through some serious permutations as a result of the fallout between Elon Musk and President Trump. And it's got a lot of people, including myself and us on the Elixir, asking what this means for MAGA and President Trump. And, you know, if all of you guessing calls also have been wondering what this means, call up so we can do a deep dive and discuss what this will mean, and we'll get to the bottom of it. Now, in a minute, I'm going to bring on my guests, but before I do, I want to say this breakup between the richest man in the world and the alleged most powerful man in the world was a long time coming. It's something that people in the mainstream media have been saying is due since they first got together, essentially. And they were basically inseparable during the election and the months following after. For example, you had Elon Musk staying at Trump's address in Mar-a-Lago for a while. Musk poured over $200 million into Trump's presidential campaign to help get him elected, and did a roller coaster ride of campaigning for President Trump, especially in the state of Pennsylvania. Now, as we know, Musk was appointed a special advisor role to President Trump, heading up the Department of Doge. Now, this advisor role came to an abrupt end a couple of weeks ago. Then, not long after that, we saw the explosive fallout with what on the surface appears to have been sparked by Musk's opposition to a bill that is stuck in Congress right now. And this triggered a slew of Twitter posts by Musk, with Musk calling the bill ugly, telling voters essentially to write to their congressman and to oppose it. This sparked an angry response by President Trump, with Trump implying he could sever cut government contracts to Musk companies. And as a result of that, Musk, in a single night, posted dozens of comments with some alleging Donald Trump essentially was on the Epstein flight list. Now, this This bill has been a spot of controversy, and as I said in my introduction, I thought it'd been a long time coming. But to get this underway, I want to bring on my guest, my producer, Gareth. And Gareth, is Hugh available yet?
He's just shown up. He's just there. Yes. Oh. Don't me ask you just now.
Yeah, at the minute.
Hello.
Hey, Hugh.
Hi, Gareth.
I hope you're safe there in California. I've seen there's a wee bit of a brouhaha in your capital. You know.
Yeah, it's like Los Angeles is in the county of LA County, and obviously you may not know this being in Scotland, but Orange County and LA County are right next door to each other. I mean, they're probably about 30 minutes apart, and certainly it's Orange County is more like a conservative Republican county, whereas LA County is a very Democrat-run place.
Yeah,
but in saying that, you can
Alabama or
Yeah.
see.
you can definitely. I mean, you can hear the helicopter. Yeah, you can hear the helicopters and things going over. That's important to us.
Let's see it from.
Over a wee bit.
Well, I have to adjust this. Is that a bit better? That's better.
Better. Yeah.
So how is everything here? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, everything's fine.
Right, that's excellent. So as I said in my introduction, this fallout has been a long time coming. And because a lot of the disagreement essentially with Musk and other Trump advisors went on before this, you had MAGA personalities such as Steve Bannon getting into Elon Musk. I'm sorry, there's some. Give me a minute. I need to deal with. Go talk to Hugh. I'll come back in a second.
I'll ban. So I mean, so when it comes to like MAGA, I was and still am quite a big MAGA guy, which is unusual for Scotland. During the 2020 election, I actually had a Trump flag, right, which I flew outside my kitchen window, which let's just say the response from passerby weren't necessarily that positive. A lot of middle fingers, a lot of spit. Luckily I'm high up. But hey, not everyone has taste. I mean, not everyone recognizes game and genius as or honourable. DKT,
Sorry about that, Hugh. It's I've got some pets in the background and they were making quite a racket, so I had to deal with that. Anyway, as I was saying, that I feel this has been a long time coming because there's been a lot of disagreement between Musk after Trump advisors and MAGA personalities were upset with Musk, and we saw with his Musk's choice for NASA, Jared Isaacman not getting rejected. And then before that, we saw the whole scandal over the H-1B visa debate with Musk at odds, again, with people like Steve Bannon over that. So my question to the both of you, starting with you, Hugh, is do you think the fallout between Musk and Trump solely is about this bill, or is there more under the surface?
Well, I've been listening to many sources with regards to this, including people who know Donald Trump very well and people who have picked up on things that him and Musk have said in the past. And they've made an analysis based on what they've heard and seen. Some of those people are basically saying that they think the whole fallout is just orchestrated. It's not real. And some people are saying they think it's the biggest acting thing that's ever been done, and they think the true reason behind it is because all the Republicans, they want the Epstein list and all the information all released, whereas a lot of Democrats are pushing against it. Now, the left hate Donald Trump so much that if they, whoops, hello,
Yep.
Hello, sorry, something
Oh,
popped
yeah.
up there.
You're saying that the left hate Trump so much.
Yeah, sorry, a few things appeared on my screen. Yes, so basically, a lot of people are thinking that what better way to get the Democrats to want Epstein files released than saying Donald Trump was on was in the list, etc. Because if he was on that, they would all demand it all be made public knowledge, because they want to be able to find some way to impeach him. Right now, what people are saying, they're saying if Trump really was in the Epstein list, other than the fact that he had brushed shoulders with Epstein, just like half of Hollywood had, it doesn't mean they actually knew him, right? They say as if Musk truly did believe that, then why would Musk have allowed his son, X, I think his name is, to travel on the presidential helicopter without Musk being on the helicopter, traveling on it with Trump?
Well, according to Roger Stone, who was an advisor to President Trump in his first term, you did see that Epstein stayed at the Mar-a-Lago address with Trump for a period of time.
Yeah.
However, Roger Stone did add to that Trump threw Epstein out of the,
well, there's
the
actually a
property
story
once he became familiar with
there's
his
an actual
partners.
There's an actual story. I'll try and remember what it was, right? So I think it was one of the housekeeping staff or one of the staff who worked in Mar-a-Lago. I think it was. And I think Epstein had been accused of doing something with her daughter. I think it was, right? And then basically when Trump found out about it, not knowing if it was true or not, but he trusted his staff member, he threw Epstein off his premises and banned him from Mar-a-Lago, and that's when he cut all ties because he stood with his employees. Because apparently he's supposed to have a one-to-one good relationship with all his staff, but if someone comes out and says something like that, it's something you really need to take serious. So apparently, that was the turning point where he kicked him off out of Mar-a-Lago, and they basically cut all communications with him. Unlike Prince Philip, who, after finding out about it, he still continually kept traveling to Epstein Island and everything like that. You know, the difference there is he kept cut himself off. You know,
It was Prince Andrew. In fact, can you pull up the video of Steve Bannon commenting on Elon Musk?
Okay, here we go.
Against President Trump's tariffs. Now, President Trump, I think, had enough of it. Elon asked to stay longer. Mark Caputo and Axios reports that. President Trump said, no, your time here is done. President Trump's very uncertain of what Doge actually accomplished, wanted him out of the White House, was pretty adamant about it. And like an 11-year-old, Elon struck back, and what he said yesterday, he crossed the Rubicon. This is not about a bill. It's not about cutting spending. We're the biggest deficit hawks out there, been on this, working this for over a year. What he did was to try to destroy the bill, kill the bill, right, which would destroy President Trump's supply side tax cut and a huge tax cut for the working class and middle class here. But then he went further than that. He's the one that made it personal. He talked about the Epstein files. He talked about impeaching President Trump and replacing him with the vice president. Given everything we've gone through, remember, we're 10 days or 9 days away from the 10th anniversary.
So you had Steve Bannon badmouthing Musk here. But I mean, this is more than a personal spat, really. I mean, it affects all of MAGA and the Republican Party. You know, Steve Bannon, he also calls for defanging and deconstructing the administrative state, which Doge, through its cuts, was in part trying to do. But, it didn't, because Doge could only cut the discretionary spending, as the CR, the continuing resolution, was already passed. But my point is, Steve Bannon said that getting in bed with Musk was selling out MAGA to the donor class. And so what do you feel about that in respects of the wider picture between Musk and MAGA? Because to me, Musk was never really on board with the America First thing. He was more like a technocratic libertarian who wanted to slash the administrative state as opposed to, invest in the American dream and American industry. He offshores so much over to other countries like China.
See what they were saying. I mean, a lot of people have been saying out there, it's almost like, I mean, if this isn't an act, if it's true that Elon Musk is pretty much tested the water, saying, as you had said, that maybe Trump should be replaced by Vance, etc. Right? But Vance turned.
Well, that's completely crossing the line, saying that.
Yeah. But as I say, so Vance actually came out and he had made a statement, and he pretty much says, "I'm 100% behind. I'm 100% behind Trump," and then basically the Speaker of the House as well, who's friends with both Trump and Musk, he says Musk didn't answer his call, but he himself as well is not trying to take sides, but he thinks it's wrong of what's been done. And obviously there's Steve Bannon, which you put on as well. Steve Bannon has always been a huge supporter of everything Trump's trying to accomplish and trying to smash the deep state. And it just seems
that to me is concurrent with Doge's attempts to slash the administrative state. So wouldn't you think that Steve Bannon would be more sympathetic to Elon Musk because we were both in a way trying to cut the deep state or the administrative state?
Well, the thing is, it's like Donald Trump's trying to do 100 things at one time. And I think maybe Elon Musk, in a certain way, he thinks everything can just be done by a flick of a switch because that's how he works. He gets things done very quick. But it's like Donald Trump has accomplished so much within over 100 days, especially a lot of things that kind of Biden throughout all Trump's executive orders and stuff like that, which he's starting to reinstate and stuff like that. But it's almost like if this isn't an act that Elon Musk was testing the waters to see how much of the people would follow him compared to how many people would follow Trump. Now, a lot of people asked me which side am I on, and I says I'm not on either side. I says I'm a strong Elon Musk supporter. I love everything he does, but at the same time, I'm a very strong Donald Trump supporter as well because I understand what he's trying to accomplish. And
do you agree with you that Elon Musk was testing the waters, so to speak?
Well, last night or night before on X, Elon posted a poll asking for support for a third party in America, which I voted yes on. I believe last time I checked it was 80-20 in favour of. Whether that means people are in favour of Elon Musk or they're just sick of the two-party system is anyone's guess. I would say probably the latter, because it's so divisive and there isn't really that many alternatives to Republican, Democrat. Yeah, you've got Libertarian, but Libertarian always seems to kind of get more swallowed up by the MAGA, cult, if you like, or the MAGA family, or cult where you will, the MAGA spear. As you so succinctly called it, yes.
So can I just touch on one thing? So
I'm not the biggest Musk guy, right? I mean, I respect the guy. You know, I think someone with his sort of Asperger's and is commendable and
Who would you rather
inspirational.
have in Trump's administration, Elon Musk or Rand Paul?
Ooh.
Because he's a libertarian.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Rand Paul. I think he's wrong on this bill as well. So that's good.
No, Rand Paul's opposed to the bill. Are you in favour of the bill?
Not as it is.
Not as it stands.
Not as it stands.
So Hugh, you said that Musk was testing the waters. Can you expand on what you mean by that?
Okay, it's like obviously you only just need to look at Elon Musk's influence. You know, he talks about a crypto, he talks about something, and he can influence the price on things to the fact that the SEC was pretty much slapping his wrist for doing it. Right. Donald Trump, on the other hand, as well, he's got so much influential power as well. He can say something and completely destroy a business overnight by what he says on Twitter. Right now. This whole thing that happened between the two, it's like overnight. It's like Tesla had fallen, I think, like 13 or 14%. I think this is the price of the stocks, right? So to me, that pretty much shows, you F with Trump, this is what can happen, because he's got a very, very strong support, right? So it's almost like. It's like Clash of the Two Titans, it's like the two most powerful people in the world. Believe it or not, Musk is very powerful, he can accomplish a lot. But at the same time, Donald Trump has got his hardline supporters behind him that are terrified of the USA falling into the Democrats' hands. So they would put him before they would put Elon Musk, and most of the non-tech people as well, they look at Elon Musk and they think, well, he voted for Joe Biden in 2020 and stuff like that, so he's not 100% us, and apparently someone says it was something to do with I think a tax incentive for Tesla cars or something like that, that Trump was wanting to take away, and Elon Musk was okay with it, but some people are saying it may well be that's the reason. But apparently everything that was in the big, beautiful bill, Elon Musk knew about everything that was going to be in it a long time ago, and they're saying...
Yeah, I don't... Elon Musk has refuted that, and I'm with Elon in that. I don't think Musk would have been aware of the details of the bill. You have... Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who in fact voted for the bill, but she also said she didn't know the details of it. How many people? Do you know how many pages this bill is? I don't know.
Biggest majority of times it's probably 30,000 or more, and they don't get much time to go through and read it.
Yeah. It's an omnibus bill. It's one of these huge, massive bills that no one in Congress really ever gets through. How can they? They don't have the body time. To expand on Musk's diminishing power and Trump's administration, when the fact that he couldn't even get his picks in NASA, like Jared Isaacman, and Musk is integral to the American space industry. In fact, his SpaceX is the most important company right now in space travel, especially for the United States. And for Musk to be sidelined, or for his choice to be sidelined, doesn't that show that there was already it shows that his influence was waning, or that he was being sidelined?
I mean, maybe Donald Trump didn't want it to be a conflict of interest, because if his best friend ends up getting put in a top position in NASA, then guess what? It's like Elon Musk.
Well, wait a minute. The EV mandate has been cut. So how can you, on the one hand, say, "Oh, wait a minute, Elon Musk is benefiting from this," and yet the EV mandate, which benefits Elon Musk's Tesla company, has been slashed in the bill? So it's hard to argue that Musk is personally benefiting from his friendship or his involvement with Donald Trump when the EV mandate's been removed.
No, what I'm saying is, I mean, if Donald Trump was to put someone in that position in NASA, right, biggest majority of it's Elon Musk's business. I mean, Tesla's a huge part of his business, but he gets a lot from NASA because NASA.
He gets more. He gets more. Gets more from Tesla than any company.
Okay, I mean, I don't know if that's true because obviously, SpaceX is not open to the public to own shares and stuff like that, right? So I think they're just talking about a publicly traded company. I think with that, but his SpaceX requires a lot of big contracts, and obviously
whether it's publicly traded or privately, or whether it's privately owned by Musk, in terms of the hard assets of the company, Tesla is more valuable to Musk. In fact, Musk leverages Tesla to get loans for other companies. He did that.
Yeah, but see the thing is, I'm not too sure. Gareth would need to Google it. Musk doesn't own as much in Tesla as a lot of people think. A lot of people, he's the major shareholder, but a lot of people think that he pretty much owns it all. He doesn't. And I don't know if you could find that out, Gareth, how much.
Is it not Thiel that's got shares in Tesla, or was that something else?
No, Peter Thiel.
Oh.
I mean, I'm not certain. I mean, I'd rather us not go on our phones and sit there browsing trying to get this kind of information. We should already have it. We should already be aware of it. And if not, let's just admit we don't have the facts instead of sitting there on the phones trying to find the facts.
Yeah. We're not 13-year-old girls here. No. So.
Okay, I actually found it out, right? So apparently it says
were you on your phone?
I had to find it, but it says it's between 12 and 20%. Okay, so I mean, basically, Tesla is a huge company, but SpaceX is pretty much what Elon Musk's about. He wants to make us but he
leverages. He gets more from Tesla because he leverages Tesla.
That's like his bargaining check at the roulette wheel. That's his farm. That's his all-in. That's his that's his mortgage.
You think that is Elon Musk getting his pick, Jared Isaacman, as the head of NASA? You think that's showing some form of what?
Favoritism?
What are you arguing there, Hugh?
It's like basically Trump doesn't want anything to look like a conflict of interest and all that stuff. And if I'm just assuming, but if Elon Musk picks get puts into NASA now, basically with Blue Origin, they've been testing their huge rocket, which they're making a lot of success. Not the Shepherd, whatever you call it, the huge one that can deliver satellites and stuff like that, right?
Wait a second, though, right? You're saying that Trump doesn't want to appear to have any conflict of interest, but in this big beautiful bill, he has proposed a regulation for meme coins, which he has his own companies in, which is run by his son. So that by regulating that, it becomes another official currency that can be debanked. So he can put other competitors out of business. So how can you say they don't want to have any conflict of interest when he deliberately put that in the bill so he can have power over something so powerful?
I think the reason why that is like Donald Trump wants to have all the cards in his hands,
No.
But what I'm saying is, it's like it's like I think see with a lot. I know there's a lot of people out there talking about how they think Elon Musk is is the real president of America, right? A lot of people are saying that because they think his influence is Trump's nodding his head and he's doing everything Musk is telling him. So maybe in another way as well, it's kind of like it's Donald Trump pretty much pushing it out there. I'm in charge, not Musk. And that could be another reason why.
The reason I was emphasising that and repeating that point is I think Musk's role in space exploration is so pivotal and so important that if he was to, make the point that this individual, Jay Eisman, is the right man for NASA, I would think that as this advisor who, as I said, is pivotal in space exploration, Trump would have, chosen the individual.
Well, if he's the right man for the job, he's the right man for the job, is he not?
I would assume that Musk's choice would.
Yeah. Also, just to clarify, as of yesterday, I think it was, the Epstein tweet, the big controversial tweet that brought all eyes onto this spat, has since been deleted, as well as many other.
It deleted everything that he said with regards to it.
Yeah. Not everything, but most of the defamatory things. After receiving Dana White, of all people, who's the head of the TKO and the UFC, so maybe didn't want another black eye, if that's a real black eye.
And there was another thing as well, it's like, I don't know if you've seen this, right? I don't know if Gareth could even find it as well, right? But
we've already discussed we're not going to be looking for it.
It's like Elon Musk's dad, Errol, right?
He's in Russia at the moment.
He had came out and he actually spoke about the whole thing as well.
Sure. Where he's in Moscow at the moment.
And he's pretty much making it sound like it's out of character for Elon Musk to have done that, and he says it could be exhaustion because all the stuff he was doing for Doge, SpaceX, Tesla, and all that stuff. And he even says he felt his son. He actually says they felt his son was wrong what his son did, but he says he think it may be exhaustion that actually caused him to do something silly like that.
Yeah, it did look like a paroxysm, an outburst of rage and contempt for Trump. And when I heard read Trump's truth on his Truth Social, that he was implying that he could cut government contracts to Musk companies. That was a direct attack on Musk. And I think that triggered that paroxysm, that outburst in Musk. And you saw that slew of dozens of, I think it was as much as 80 tweets within 24 hours. I think Musk.
It's like, no, trust me. It's like when Elon Musk fires with the tweets, there's a lot in them. But it was almost like battle of the two former Twitter titans. It's like the two of them were equally as good as each other. But I think what Donald Trump had done,
it wasn't as good as Trump versus Rosie. Come on, that's a classic.
I think when Donald Trump was interviewed, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, he was asked about with the whole thing, and he says, "Listen, I'm very focused on what's happening, Gaza, Russia, and all that." He starts talking about all the things, and he says, "I'm actually too busy to be focused."
Yeah, he's very nonchalant.
But he did turn around and say,
didn't take the bait from the legacy media.
But he did turn around and he says, I do wish Elon a lot of success, right? But Donald Trump actually liked something, I think it was, of Elon Musk on Twitter recently, if you've looked at the tweets now, and suddenly it's almost like they're liking each other's stuff again. So it's almost like they're slowly trying to brush it under the rug. But Trump was asked, "Do you think these will ever be friends again?" And I think he basically didn't say no, but made it sound like it would most likely take a lot of work to get it back to where it was, because I think there was a line that was crossed,
I was saying in my monologue in my introduction, although it was a bit messed up because my pets in the background were creating some noise and I had to contend with that and I was being distracted. But I'm not sure that we really tackled that question that I asked. But do both of you think that the fallout was solely to do with the bill, or was there more lingering underneath the surface? And as I said, I did allude to the H-1B visa scandal, or not scandal, but disagreement. And then you have the Jared Isaacman thing, and there's my allusion that too that Musk is more of a technocratic libertarian. He is not America first. He never was. You know that whole thing when he was like, "I'm not MAGA, I'm dark MAGA." And do you know? And I was saying this to Gareth John the
And he
other
had
day.
the dark cap and stuff like that.
Yeah, but do you know you've got the whole symbolism of what the blue pill and the red pill, and then they say you can get black pilled, and that's when you don't actually pick a side, and you've sort of you've given up on the duality in the political system. You're above that. You feel that both sides are just trying to benefit from the conflict. And
Well, I was actually hoping that she was going to wear red because you're wearing blue. I was hoping you were going to wear red and I was going to be black. I was going to be black Alexa. But, I mean, thanks, you.
So do you think there was more lingering underneath the surface?
Well, I think
There was.
the HPV
Who's that? Who's?
I think that the HPV visas was a bad. Well, Elon's take was a bit sort of.
What did you call it? The HPV.
HPV.
H1B.
H1B. Sorry. Thank you for correction. I was just. I knew it started with an H, but I think his take on those visas was a bit sort of nasty towards American people. You know, I thought it was sort of talking down to them. You
had Vivek Ramaswamy.
What happened? He jumped off the boat. What
happened to Vivek? I mean, Vivek was part of this whole Dodge outfit, and then he disappeared.
You know, and he was going to be.
I think. Okay, so Vivek, it's like obviously. I personally think there was a power struggle between him and Elon Musk, you know? I mean, they didn't go on to the details about it, but there was obviously a power struggle because Vivek's a very strong-minded person. Elon Musk is very strong-minded too, but Elon Musk comes with a lot of sarcasm as well, you know? So I think there was... What was that, sorry?
Who do you think would win the fist fight, Vivek or Musk?
Maybe that's who gave him the black eye.
Oh, right. So the assertion is that this has been caused due to the bill, that big beautiful bill, and it's because Trump has claimed that Elon has been upset because the EV mandate was pulled. So could you play the video of Alex Jones commenting on the bill?
Can I just say something before you play the video, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
So, a lot of people have been analyzing all the videos of Elon Musk being in the Oval Office while Trump's been talking and stuff like that, and some body language experts have been saying they felt there was certain problems happening then between the two of them, right? Other people are saying they think Elon Musk has been taking drugs as well. I'm not too sure if he was doing the Judy Garland style ones to help him stay awake with the amount of hours he's putting into all these companies, right? But a lot of people are saying that they think he's been taking drugs and how he's been acting has been out of character, which obviously drugs would do that. And then for Elon Musk's dad, Errol, to come out and say it's unlike Elon to do that, I think Elon was wrong and stuff like that. And then because the two of them had been liking each stuff on Twitter now, it's almost as if Elon Musk has realized that, we're better together than being enemies, because suddenly it's like all of a sudden the Democrats are saying how I think Elon is right with this. I think he's right with that. Only not long ago they were wanting his neck in a noose, you know, and now all of a sudden they've got his back, you know.
So, Gareth, could you hit the video of Alex Jones?
You know, you can have a nice, delicious punch bowl full of a lot of delicious punch, but you throw a couple of capsules of cyanide into it, well, it'll kill everybody that drinks it. So this bill needs to fail in the Senate, or the bad provisions need to be stripped out, but the establishment wants this medical guinea pig power grab, this AI power grab, and I have a sneaking suspicion unless we put major pressure, that is the public, on this, and on the Trump administration.
Alex Jones, guy's a legend. I mean, that guy has lost a power of weight.
Yeah,
I think he's on the Ozempic.
All right.
I mean, I think he's training, but he's definitely on.
Well, he's got that.
Besides you,
and saying that with Alex Jones, I mean, how many things has Alex Jones come out and says he's been ridiculed for it, and it turns out everything he turns out to be true. You know, it's almost like some people are almost like they swear he's a prophet, you know, because it's almost like he sees things before they happen, you know.
Yeah, but we just read the documents. I mean, one of our episodes that you were involved in the past had to do with the Russia-Ukraine war, and the reason I know that this was planned and outlined is because you can read the RAND cooperation document overextending Russia into favourable territory, where they outline how they would pull Russia into a war in Ukraine and how they would overextend Russia and cause economic collapse. So they don't make a secret about it. You can just read the documents. But anyway, I don't want to digress into that, but so in regards to the bill, I mean, it has been a source of controversy, and again, on the surface, like it appears that it, sparked the conflict between Musk and Trump. But as I said, it's not just Musk that's opposed to it. You've got Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's against it, and
So to interrupt, Vince, we have a comment from someone called Billy Bob that just says, "Kill the bill."
Aye.
Yeah.
Billy Bob.
Thank you, Billy Bob, for your contributions.
Thank you, Billy Bob. Yeah, so Marjorie Taylor Greene, even she said she was against it, although she voted for it, but she claimed that she didn't know many of the terrible provisions.
Well,
and
I don't know what habeas corpus either. So.
No, that was...
that was Bondi, sorry.
Yeah, and I'm opposed to the
bill.
The thing is, there's a particular provision, right, that really gets me, and it's about putting limits on the states. In fact, not so much limits, but literally preventing a state or a political division from enforcing any law or regulation on AI models, which is crazy, right? And again, another huge MAGA media figure, Alex Jones, that is a reason why he's opposed to it. To say that the states or any political division cannot regulate AI at a time the AI, in terms of AI scientists, who many of them are arguing that it is becoming self-aware now. So to put those provisions
are refusing to turn themselves off, and they're just giving information unprompted and stuff. It's quite alarming.
So see one of the things I think Elon Musk is upset with as well, because in the bill it was saying something about raising the debt limit or the debt ceiling, whatever you want to call it, which means the government can borrow more money. And I think the thing that was upsetting Elon Musk is saying, well, why are we creating Doge to create savings and fraud and all that stuff if we're going to get ourselves in more debt? The whole thing is we're trying to get rid of that debt, not increase it. But we've got to understand as well, a lot of these things that's in these big bills that hits the Senate, that's not Donald Trump just putting all his things there. That's both parties putting things in these bills that they would like to see.
You say both parties, but the Democrats are against this bill. So who in the Democratic Party had put any provision in this bill?
It's like, I mean, it's like every person that puts something in it, they've got to have something that sweetens the deal for the other person. It's like, if you put something in it, I want to put something in it as well.
Yeah, but you
But then
said this is a bill that both parties have made contributions to. Can you name one Democrat senator or representative in Congress that?
I can't say a lot, but you've got to remember how many representatives.
anything?
There's a
Can you name
lot,
one?
right? Not off the top of my head.
Because it's not a Democrat bill, Hugh. It's a Republican bill.
No, I know that, but they both. It's like they sweeten the deal for each other to allow each thing to go in it. That's how it always works.
Well,
right?
do you know one Democrat senator who said he's going to vote for the bill?
I suppose we'll find out, because a lot of people say they're not going to vote for it, and they
Did
do.
it already approved in the House of Representatives? Did any Democrat congressmen or women vote for it in the House?
I'm not too sure. Yeah.
But I mean, the thing is, the bill is really, really sort of flimsy in terms of passing, because the Republicans only have a 53 majority. So if only 4 of them vote against it, it's dead.
Yeah, and personally, like I don't know. I'm going to ask your views on the bill, because I'd like to know, Q, as someone that's actually living in California.
And it doesn't go. So one second. So when it goes to the Senate as well, remember, it's not an automatic thing. It's got to get sent from that to President Trump to sign it. So I think that's why Elon Musk is putting pressure, because he wants Donald Trump to object to the bill. You know.
Why would you object to a bill that he created?
It's just, and see, the thing is as well, all these bills that hit the Senate floor as well, as Vince says, there's far too many pages. They don't get enough time to read everything that's in them, and that's the problem. That's how things get sneaked into the bill, right? They need more time to go through the 30 or 100,000 pages or something. That's ridiculous, you know. Was that sorry?
Do you know the thing? The thing for me is the fact that it cuts Medicaid for up to maybe 10 million persons, and then you've got that provision preventing states or political divisions enforcing any laws or regulations in AI. To me, this bill should be voted down. What do you think, Hugh? Do you think the bill should be voted down, or should they?
I think they need to give the public a lot more information of what's in this bill. They're not. I mean, rather than them bitching at each other, you know, both parties and all that stuff, show us every single thing that's in this bill. Let us. It's like
Matt Gaetz, who was the representative of Florida, who was the one that was campaigning against these omnibus bills, and he wanted single, bills that just dealt with single issues, and he was destroyed. I mean, it is part of the political systems where both parties do want these big omnibus bills. Whether it's Democrat, Republican, they love them because, as what you said there, they can sneak these wee provisions into it, but the public is completely unaware of these provisions that benefit not us working class or middle class people, but benefit these big transnational corporations or benefit Wall Street. Like you've got Palantir. Palantir benefits big from this bill.
We're basically a private organisation.
I mean, this company's got like AI hunter-killer robots for murdering people in Gaza now.
I mean,
I used to own loads of
CIA is a front for Palantir, or Palantir a front for the CIA. And it's the CIA with, all the sort of what's the word I'm looking for here? Because they're a private company, they don't have to adhere to like rights of privacy or any sort of governmental rights, because they work as a private in the private sector. So the CIA can hire them to do the things that they can't legally do.
They've got non-disclosure agreements and all that.
And they just go on and just do whatever the hell they want, survey who they want.
And
hunt who they want, kill who they want.
and we explained in the Weather War episode how Raytheon, gets away with doing it.
And it's loopholes for CIA, so it's spooks having all the toys.
So Hugh, could you expand on your views on this bill, because it's like pivotal to why this whole rift between Trump and Musk has emerged?
It's like, I mean, I think what Elon Musk, what's rubbing him up the wrong way, and I can understand of what he's saying, regardless who's put stuff in this bill or not. He's pretty much saying, it's going against what Doge is trying to do. We're trying to cut spending, blah, 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 blah. And then with someone raising the debt ceiling so we can spend more, it's almost like it's taking the debt this way. You're putting in a position where, I mean, is it going to end up 40 trillion soon? This is, and he basically, Elon Musk says, unless things has changed just now, and if this bill goes through, that towards the end of the year, that we could end up going into a recession or something like that. So Elon Musk is spewing out the warnings of what he thinks may happen. And to be honest, it's like, I understand what Elon Musk is saying there, because obviously no one wants us to keep increasing the spending all the time. It's not just a waste, fraud, and abuse. It's like, I just think the government, just in a general, just in a whole, just spends more. It's almost like they've got a limitless credit card. It's like when we get a mortgage, they check to see what all our financial outgoings are, and then base how much we can get a mortgage for, to make sure we can pay the mortgage, pay all our bills, pay everything at the same time. Whereas Musk is sounding the alarm that if we keep going the way we're going to go, then it's going to be a case that we'll be paying so much interest on the debt we've got, that we'll need to start cutting very, very important kind of institutions, like medical institutions and stuff.
What about the Pentagon? What about the Department of Defense? It's what I said to you in a previous episode, that Doge will never audit the Department of Defense, and they did not audit the Department of Defense. I also said Doge was a scam, because Doge only cut discretionary spending, and they only ever could cut discretionary spending because the continuing resolution was already passed by Congress, and it is Congress that is responsible for, as you know, for spending and for what's to be cut, not some executive. Because what is Doge? Doge is like this metaphysical outgrowth of the executive branch that Trump created, but it's not a real institution. It doesn't have the actual power to cut anything, and that's why when they found these programs, these discretionary programs, like sending money to Iraq, etc., for Sesame Street, it could cut that, but it can't cut the Department of Defense.
Well, actually, Vince, interestingly enough, talking about Doge and political theatre, we have a comment here from Moxka. I might be mispronouncing that. My sincere apologies. But she's saying that this whole trip between Trump and Musk is just a ploy to get it's just theatre to get Democrats to buy Musk products again. Which.
You assumed Mox's gender there, mate.
I apologise again if I'm.
That sounds, I don't know, Indian or something.
Yeah, something like that. My apologies. I totally butchered that. But if it's any concessions, that butchering was halal. So what do you think of that? Do you think it is just the sort of, we start, hey Musk, let's get your companies back on track and let's have a.
What do you think? What do you think about Mox's comment, Hugh? Do you think it's political theatre, so that maybe those on the left who've stopped using Elon Musk services and products will come back?
I think people would already. I think people have made their mind up, and I think the left are so there's so much hatred now that even if Elon Musk came out and says, I support the Democrats again, I think they wouldn't buy his product. They wouldn't forgive
You think
him
they
for
would
what
switch back to MAGA then? You think they'd all just go, look, because they hate him that much now, they'd actually come into the fold?
I think what Elon Musk is saying is when he made that post about creating a third party for the 80%, he says, which to be honest, you would never get the 80% in the middle, right?
That was the result of the poll. 80% of X agreed that
Yeah.
they should have a third party.
But in saying that, we can't believe all these polls because of bots and stuff like that. Right? And the thing is as well, I mean, in fairness to people who are Democrats, it's like a lot of Democrats don't use the platform X because they don't like Trump.
They're all on Blue Sky or Redbook or whatever.
So maybe overwhelmingly, maybe they created accounts and done something to make it look like, we would like to be down the middle. And Elon Musk sounds like he's trying to get the pressure of people stop making death threats and stuff like that against him.
Musk created that poll and basically skewed the number of it to make himself look better.
As an Elon Musk fan and supporter, he very much could do that. I mean, we can't say he can't because we don't know what they can and can't do on the platform X. But when you
the thing is, like, Elon Musk is a technocrat. I keep on, I've said this multiple times now in this episode, he's a technocratic libertarian. So a third party down the lines of libertarianism, even a new sort of form of libertarianism that embraces technocracy, that is something that I think a lot of Americans would be in favour of. And what I mean by technocracy, and I'm just coming out with this, is you see a lot of Americans that like to invest in cryptocurrency. So there are a lot of libertarians, I think, that don't want to use the dollar and who would prefer to use a crypto coin.
It's unregulated because they don't want to be debanked. They want to have their own self-sufficient.
So I think a lot of Americans would like to see a kind of technocratic libertarian party.
That seemed to be the vibe in the comments of the poll that when I sort of looked at it. It definitely seemed to be the sort of mood of the people on X. So
yeah, I mean, you've heard of these kind of fights between Rubio and Musk. Who was the commerce secretary in the United States? Do you know his name? Yeah.
The who? Sorry.
The commerce secretary. He also had a bust up with Musk too.
Is that the guy that he sort of?
I think. Yeah, and he had a fallout with Rubio too.
Allegedly.
And then he's got this fallout with Trump. So this goes to my point that a lot of people are boxing Musk in with this whole MAGA label, and he's not MAGA at all.
He's not MAGA. He's kind of like
Hugh, can I ask you what you said? You're a fan of Musk and you're a supporter of Musk. Are you a supporter of Musk for the same reasons you support Trump?
No, it's like I love Elon Musk because of his humor and because of his innovation to kind of take us from one stage of innovation to another. I mean, there's certain times in life where we have big leaps in technology. We've seen how we went from not being able to fly to being able to end up in space and stuff like that now. So, and Elon Musk has made space adventure exciting again, because NASA was boring, right? So
who sends the hot chicks into Katy Perry into space?
That was Bezos.
That was make space sexy again.
And
sorry, continue. I was just.
It's okay. So it's like Elon Musk. I've loved everything he's done because I'm a very techie person myself. So that's the number one part, right? Then I started collecting cryptocurrency, various ones, and I'm a large stakeholder in the Doge cryptocurrency. Where I can tell you this, at one point when I first started buying Doge, it's like my Doge overnight jumped $27,000 just in one night, right?
I remember that. I remember you were trying to get me in on it, but I didn't understand it too much, and I thought it was too
Yeah, I know,
volatile.
but so the thing is, so what happened was Elon Musk at that time, when it had jumped $27,000 within about one day or something like that, right? He went on the SNL TV show, the comedy one, and
Saturday Night Live.
yeah, Saturday Night Live, and a lot of people thought, they were saying Doge is going to go to the moon, it's going to hit $1, and blah 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 blah. It's going to hit $2 after that, and this Elon Musk thing was going to be the catalyst that was going to make it jump, right? So then he
I
went
didn't
there,
want to be the
and all of a
official
sudden, as he was,
well.
yeah. So listen, so as he was on the show, all of a sudden the Doge started plummeting like that, falling drastically, right?
Just
A
like
lot of,
SNL ratings.
yeah, it's like a lot of people tried to blame him for that, but a lot of people think it was big whales that owned lots of Doge that can influence the trajectory of it
What do you
going
mean
up
by
and down.
whales?
They've done that to try and embarrass him, while he was on TV, because I don't really think he done anything wrong, but it's like, I think a lot of people lost respect for him because they blamed him for the crypto falling like that. And now all of a sudden Bitcoin is spiked through the roof. Dogecoins went back up again as well, but it's not went up as much as it was during that time.
Yeah, isn't that because of this bill, like cutting things like Social Security? People are investing in crypto so that they've got an alternative currency in case their money gets, canned, essentially.
Well, see,
Because that always
the,
seems to be a backup, does it not? But if it's regulated, then it can be debanked, and then, what's the point? It's just another currency that's susceptible to markets and
To central banks.
Yeah.
Yeah, see. The thing is, a lot of people are saying that lots of people like Bitcoin, for instance, right? Because it's because it can't be hacked off any government agencies and stuff like that. It's so secure, right? And it's an alternative to how the government's running the financial system, right? It's like holding gold, it's the new gold, right? But
it's more unstable than that, is it not? Is it not really volatile?
But then what happened was, it's like when the Democrats were in, they were wanting to create a new cryptocurrency. They wanted to pull us away from the paper dollar to a cryptocurrency which would be regulated by the government. And a lot of people were scared of that because they were saying, well, what happens if you come out and you're political speaker, you say something that the government doesn't like, they can stop your money, freeze your money.
Yeah. Hugh, like the Republicans and Trump are pushing that sort of thing too, man.
That's in this big
I mean, if that's the case, I'm not for it. I think cryptocurrency is great, yeah, but the American, I think having the physical money, not that you can hide, no one can touch it,
Hugh, I would like to also ask you about something that's happening right now in California, since you're there. But I want to hit a break and get a song on. So can you hang on for a couple of minutes?
Yeah, that's fine.
Right, okay. Meet me in.
and said Moscow as I stood against the wall, stranded in Warsaw with no one to call. I needed to get there before the heat came down. I knew that my future lay deep down in the underground. Meet me in Moscow. Come on and meet me in Moscow. The mood was undecided. Some of them scratched their heads. The truth was ill-divided, broken like a frozen piece of bread. But I needed to get there before the heat came on down. I always knew that my future lay deep down in the underground. Meet me in Moscow. Come on, meet me in Moscow. And meet me in St. Petersburg by the sea. I know that something's waiting for me. Golden visions as the bronze horsemen rise. Then we'll glide into Moscow overnight. Meet me in Moscow. Come on and meet me in Moscow. The outcome was inevitable, like balmy days in Kampuchea. The sunsets were incredible, like trout fishing in Siberia. 'Cause we all need to get to somewhere before the heat comes around. Some of us know where the future is, deep down in the underground. And meet me in St. Petersburg by the sea. I know that something is waiting for me. Golden visions as the bronze horsemen ride.
And we're back.
Welcome back to the Caledonian live stream call-in show. It would be good if we got back. But if you're liking and enjoying, don't forget you can subscribe and follow on YouTube and Twitter, and you can tip donate on the tip icon on Twitter too. So please do, it helps us out. So Hugh, how are things in California at the moment?
Certainly in Orange County, as I was explaining before, Orange County is like it's like having North and South Lanarkshire next door to each other. You know, it's like run by different kind of government parts, but it's not affecting us here. But I certainly have heard police cars. Maybe the police cars are going to LA County to help the police there. but I've heard a very, very large amount of helicopters constantly. I don't know if that's them taking people away by helicopters, but biggest majority of the helicopters, I think they're bringing equipment to all the officers that are on the line, like the border patrol staff and the feds and stuff, or the
National
FBI
Guard.
and stuff like that, So I think that's what the helicopters are. But
So
it's
CNN is because I've been following it on CNN and Fox, and CNN is maintaining that this has been stoked by Trump sending in the National Guard. Do you think that the police forces, the state police, had a handle on the situation, and that Trump sending in the National Guard has just made the whole situation worse?
well, they actually says I watched an article today, and they were saying that the police were overwhelmed. It's like they just did not have the resources to do that, and obviously, it was also spotted as well that there was loads of big coach buses all lined up as well. Someone's been funding these so-called peaceful protests, as they call them, and they're bringing people in with buses.
What are the
And
protests about?
the what? Sorry.
What are the protests about?
It's like the protest. Biggest majority of them, they don't agree with what's happened to the illegal immigrants and stuff like that, because they say we're a sanctuary city, blah 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 blah. But just to let you know, it's like in California. See when you see all these people that's getting brought into California illegally, right? The only reason the Democrats are doing it is it's if they take care of these people, then California's always going to be the Democrats running the place. It's like Republicans used to run California at one point. It was so much better, right? But if they flood,
Schwarzenegger, wasn't it? He was
what's that? Sorry.
Schwarzenegger, was he not the Republican governor?
Yeah, I'm saying, I'm
Yeah,
saying,
Schwarzenegger, the Republican.
yeah. So basically, what I'm saying is, it's like the
But Reagan was the
people.
governor of California, and he was a Republican.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh,
Hilton.
he apparently done he apparently done a terrible job, just so you know. But he's got very Democrat kind of views, right? So the see the way the whole situation happened during the George Floyd kind of thing. The cities getting burnt down, people getting killed, businesses getting ransacked, and all that stuff, right? There was a point when I was watching the news when all that unfolded, and I was thinking, it's complete anarchy. It's like the police won't try and arrest these people because the police were scared for their lives, and it got so out of control. You just thought to yourself, "Is this America going to turn into a civil war?" So Trump basically had contacted Gavin Newsom, and he was basically saying, this needs sorted, needs to sort it out. We need the National Guard getting used and all that stuff. And Gavin Newsom, as Nancy Pelosi did during the January 6th, refused to use the National Guards, right? And it's the LAPD and all that, they got under control. They were stressed, right? So then things were getting so bad, almost to the point that Trump remembers what happened during the George Floyd thing. And he's like, it's got so much to the point, Gavin Newsom refusing the National Guards. I'm going to bypass that because he's neglecting his duty to keep the Californians safe. And then what Donald Trump does is he authorized he authorized the National Guards above Gavin Newsom's control to basically go in and start working for him, helping him. And then it's because what he was saying the the Border Patrol couldn't do their job because they were getting attacked when they were going in for people. They says they weren't looking for normal people; they were looking for the hardened criminals, right?
So do you think the memory of the George Floyd riots, the Black Lives Matter movement, has had an effect on Trump's decision to deploy National Guard forces now? Because if that's the case, I think that's like a form of trauma. The guy's been traumatized by the BLM riots, and he's like, "Oh my god!"
I mean, to be honest, see, to be honest, it's like it doesn't matter whether you're Trump remembering what happened during the George Floyd riots and stuff like that. We all remember what happened, and we all
yeah,
don't
but
know.
LA's had a history of riots for over 30
yeah,
years.
Rodney King, and yeah, and
Since
But I think that,
I
think the last,
things are cycling.
yeah. So I think the last straw he basically says is when he seen that the Border Patrol were being assaulted, bricks thrown at them, Molotov cocktails and stuff like that, putting their lives in danger when they were getting attacked for just doing what their job was. Then the second thing was he sent the FBI to help them, right? But then all of a sudden, I think between the FBI, the LAPD, and them, they were still being overwhelmed. So then,
wait. I haven't heard that the FBI were deployed in the last week to help the state police forces of California. I heard that the National Guard was deployed.
As far as I'm aware, the FBI's main job was to protect the Border Patrol, basically doing their job because they were being assaulted when they were doing it. And another thing that should be raised as well that no one's talking about as well is like it happened during the George Floyd thing as well. Suddenly, pallets of cinder block, big concrete blocks appeared.
Do you not mean the National Guard?
What's that?
Do you not mean the National Guard? Up to 3,000 National Guard have been deployed in California. Are you sure you don't just mean it's not the FBI, it's the National Guard?
No, FBI's been involved too.
Right.
FBI.
Right.
So you got the border patrol, right? The FBI was put there to try and help them because they were being assaulted, right? But then all of a sudden, FBI are doing multiple things, keeping or trying to keep us safe from terrorism and stuff like that. So they're stretched as well. So basically, it's like the National Guard. Basically, there's certain jobs that they can do, like create a kind of picket lines and all that stuff to stop people getting by, and then. Now, apparently, there's 700 Marines getting put in as well because things is escalating. And
so why is the media more perturbed by Trump deploying the National Guard as opposed to the FBI? Because both are federal agencies, law enforcement agencies.
the who? Sorry.
Why is the media more perturbed by Trump deploying the National Guard as opposed to the FBI, as both are federal law enforcement agencies?
I don't think the National Guard is federal, as far as I'm aware. I think it's just a state.
Federal.
Each state has their own. It's like the territorial army of the UK. I think each state is basically responsible for their own, but I think Trump's got executive powers that if the mayor.
No, we're talking about the National Guard. Oh. So why is it called the National Guard, not the State Guard?
Because they're there to protect the state. It's like every state has their own National Guards.
Right, so are the National Guard officers, whatever their title is, from other states being deployed to California?
As far as I'm aware, no, because usually that wouldn't be the case. However, I think when Texas was having the problems with the border, when they were trying to seal the border, do you remember? I think there was a one-off time where some states did send the National Guards there, but usually it's something you wouldn't hear of, you know.
So you were alluding to the pallets of bricks appearing similar
Yeah,
to
and then this is
the
what you
Well,
see them doing. This, they're smashing the bricks on the ground to make small rocks, and then they're hurling them towards the thing. I mean, I seen a video the other day, and it shows you them throwing the rocks down from an overpass bridge over the freeway, the motorway in the UK, and it basically hit a police a police guy in riot gear on the helmet, and it knocked his helmet right off of his head. I'm not too sure if he was injured or anything like that, but he had a bald head, and they kind of rushed him underneath the bridge because they were hurling loads of rocks. You know,
you
but
see the Australian reporter getting accidentally shot with a rubber bullet
yeah,
as well.
yeah, I've seen that as well.
Yeah.
But in
And,
saying that, you know, it's like
and them
some
burning the driverless cars, and then you've got like the helicopter footage overhead, and it's just like a highway on fire, and the newscaster saying it's very peaceful. And it's like, hey, what's it? You know, it's like, I mean, it's,
Gareth, you were very opposed to the BLM riots in
Yeah.
2020.
yes.
What's your views on these
This,
protest
I
riots?
think, is again, I think it's a bit of a false flag again. This is over like 100 immigrants.
What do you mean by a false flag?
And that is orchestrated to cause division and to distract.
Orchestrated by whom or who?
I'm not sure, to be honest.
by
I
Soros.
know that the last time with BLM, the Brits were allegedly funded by Soros and whatnot. But this, I think, is more. Is it Planet? Which they mentioned earlier, is it Planeteer?
Palantir.
Palantir, yeah. So that they can basically get governmental power to survey anyone and everyone. Because a lot of these people are masked. They're probably paid just like the Teslas a couple of months ago. You know, people were getting paid $1,000 or so to go up and disrupt.
But do you know they were said, Gareth, just to touch on that, right? Some of the people who were arrested, right? Some of them had says they were being
Bland.
offered 13,000. You listen? Some of the people that were arrested sorry, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Sorry, we got a notification there.
So some of the people that were interviewed by the police who were arrested, they did come out and say that they were being offered $13,000 to cause as much mayhem and carnage as possible. The more they did, the more money they made. So apparently, it said, I don't know the truth in it, but Mark Cuban and Soros, the two of them have been perpetrators and funding.
Do you know Mark Cuban has fallen so low? I used to watch him on a Shark Tank, and I used to enjoy his character. You know, I used to like Shark Tank, and now he's become such a name you hear in the media for getting involved in these political arguments and causes, and he usually sides with the Democrats. And look, I'm not a Democrat or Republican, so I don't care who side you side with. But his name is repeated ad nauseum now, and it's kind of like, come on, I thought you were a corporate guy.
And he's just a stickster, so to say.
So here's another thing as well, right? So another reason why Trump's obviously put in the National Guard and 700 Marines and that stuff is it's like Los Angeles.
There yet, are they? The Marines are actually on the streets.
I think so.
I think they are already.
I think
it's like the Marines don't mess around, right? But it's like you got to remember, right? When these things is happening, these so-called peaceful riots, think of all the businesses losing money because they can't operate the business with all this happening. It has a financial impact on the local economy, you know. So Trump doesn't.
There should be more sort of Kyle Rittenhouse characters.
Did someone try to come on there? What was that notification?
No, it was a notification about skins for backgrounds or something.
So, Kyle Rittenhouse, you want people to take law into their own hands? Vigilantism?
Well, it's not taking, is it? Or is it expressing your Second Amendment right to defend your property, your neighbourhood, and your family, and your community? I think
And the thing is as well, right? See the George Floyd riots, right? That created a Kyle Rittenhouse. This very same that if this isn't dealt with the police. See, the Kyle Rittenhouse happened because the police weren't doing anything because their hands were tied.
Yeah.
Now, if Trump doesn't do anything, there could well be another person that becomes the Kyle Rittenhouse #2, right? Where what happens? It's like you got to understand. It's like hey, listen. Kyle Rittenhouse was chased down the street, right? He had and the guy who knocked him over, he had a revolver handgun in his hands, right? He didn't know if that guy was going to shoot him or not, so he blew his hand.
He's also been hit by a skateboard just before that as well.
So when you think your life's in danger, and the guys were running at him with skateboards, trying to hit him and all that stuff, right? And when someone's got a gun, if you think your life is going to end there, you'll do anything it takes to defend yourself. It just happened to be that he had that weapon, which he shouldn't have had anyway, because I think his age or something.
Like mate. Of course he should.
Yeah, but the thing is, when the police,
he had family in that line. I mean, that was.
I think sending in the Marines is provocative, though. You got to admit here.
I think sending the Marines in, I think, is kind of like people know how hard the Marines are, and I think
the last time the Marines were sent into a situation like that was under.
I think it's
it was George H.W. Bush. We're talking about 30 years ago.
Yeah, but I heard the last time that the president taking over control, or overrode like governors with John Rodney King when they set in the National Guard.
Yeah, but I'm talking about sending in the Marines.
Oh, the Marines, right? Okay.
So, I mean, if the Marines are not a force you send in to police civilians.
No. You send them in to take out terrorists like Obama, like steal some tits.
So what happens when you send in Marines? The civilian population become the enemy, and the Marines are trained to
eliminate all threats.
Yeah. So therefore, the civilian population become a target, and in a way that the police wouldn't have them consider. Well, that's another.
Yeah.
So, police very often do target the population, but what's that here?
Do any know what I think the Marines may actually be used for? Because it's like when our military, it's like the National Guards are more based here, right? But
you said you were going to say our military. Do you identify with the American government? Like with the American state?
The who, sorry?
Do you identify as an American?
Yes.
Well, you've got your citizenship, haven't you? Yeah.
So see, the thing is with the Marines, right? The Marines are used to being in countries like Iraq and stuff like that, where they've set up checkpoints and stuff like that. They've been trained how to search people properly for weapons and stuff like that, especially near the base. So I think when people say, "Oh, the Marines," it's like, "What are they going to know? They just go to wars." No, there are certain things that could help the police, like checkpoints and stuff like that over here, and we don't know the details of what they'll be doing, but I would imagine it's probably going to be something like that, pat downs.
I was watching.
What did you say the Americans, the Marines would be doing?
Pat downs.
The what, sorry?
Pat downs.
Pat downs. I don't know.
My point is, if this was Biden deploying Marines against Trump, protesters who were MAGA or Trump supporters, how would you feel about that?
I would be okay with it because the people are burning the streets and attacking. No, I'm serious. I don't care what party someone supports. When you start burning shit down and attacking innocent people, I mean, I kind of watched the whole George Floyd thing when that happened, and
you're in California, so I understand why you might be a bit.
it's like innocent people were being pulled out of the cars and assaulted, right? Because when it was happening. Now, I'm a big believer. It's like if this is happening to innocent people, and if the government, whether it was Biden or Trump, is not doing a thing, then if the National Guard was put in place to help with all these problems, I'd be okay with that because safety comes before party, you know.
Sure. Do you think? Like I was watching Stephen Crowder earlier, and he had a sort of shoot on sight sort of attitude. You know, shoot first, ask questions later, shoot to kill. Or I'm not quite sure if it said shoot to kill, but it was heavily implied. Do you think that should be in place, or do you think it should still
Shoot
be
to
like
kill.
non-lethal, or because I know they're using rubber bullets, they're
I,
using pepper balls, and it did
I,
nothing.
I mean, to me, it's
water cannons, or like
it's,
do you think
it's,
it's the lethal force? Because
it's
like
like
I feel the Marines are trained to do that.
I mean, to be honest, right? I'm against rubber bullets, right? I mean,
You
but the
prefer
thing is,
real bullets, you
it's,
prefer
it's,
lethal
it's like,
force.
yeah, it's like police have used them for so many years that it doesn't matter what party, what
What
right.
about beanbag guns?
It's like my whole thing with rubber bullets is, I mean, you could have a stray rubber bullet could knock someone's eye out who's innocent, right?
A bullet can kill someone though. So what is
Yeah,
your
it can still kill someone just the same as a taser can kill someone, right? But it's
less lethal
the-
force, not
So
non-lethal
who
force.
do you want, more lethal force employed or less?
That's what I asked.
less lethal force, but more heavy handling with the people, the perpetrators. I mean, basically, when I see,
So do you think we should turn
it's like basically, I'm in big favor of this thing, fuck around and find out kind of thing. You know, it's like if you're causing destruction to properties, burning the city down, I want the cops to pull you and push you down in that hot California surface harder than you've ever hit the ground and drag your ass off with your pants hanging down your ankles, you know, embarrassing you in front of the world, you know, basic and showing your taking your mask off and letting the world see who you are. I'm all for heavy handling, but when it comes to rubber bullets and stuff like that, maybe not.
What were your Hugh? What were your views on January the 6th and the riot there and the response by the Capitol Police, especially when you have people such as Ashley Babbitt, you know, persons such as her were gunned down and killed that day.
But the thing that see the January 6th, right? The January 6th, Trump had recommended the National Guards. Nancy Pelosi turned them down, right? And when all this stuff was happening, I mean, Donald Trump had says, "Go there, it's your right," and protest peacefully. He said that. He didn't say go in.
I'm aware of that. But what do you feel in regards to the response by the Capitol Police? Were they too heavy-handed?
No, it's like the Capitol Police. The Capitol Police allowed people open the door and let people in the buildings and stuff like that, right? So it's almost like they were told to stand down to allow it to happen, you know.
Mm-hmm.
St. Pelosi was checking, not bringing in the National Guard.
No, I think it was sabotage. It was sabotage. She
did call for the National Guard.
Oh.
Donald Trump offered of a National Guard before January 6th, and she turned it down. But on the day when the riot started, then she requested the National Guard.
So she wanted reactionary measures rather than preventative.
Yes.
Right.
And that's why there's a lot of people who are, claiming that it could have been something like a conspiracy, that she was waiting for something to erupt so she could blame Trump. And therefore,
well, the thing is, Nancy Pelosi. I mean, remember Nancy Pelosi? Her daughter had recorded her in the car, where she was pretty much admitting that she effed up. You know that she caused all that. But I think it's like, as I says, maybe the rubber bullets are being used because, I mean, if the police aren't using rubber bullets, what are they going to defend against if people are hurling sharp objects?
I think they should turn the hoses on them like in Selma and the dogs.
I'm a big believer, right? Some countries, what they do is they use hoses, as Gareth says, they use hoses with a blue dye, and then anyone that's attacking the police and all that stuff, they get
I'm
hosed.
talking about like
Later
water
on, because they've got the
cannons
dye,
in
I
Northern
was
Ireland.
like, yeah, and then later on, because they've got the blue dye, it's easier for the police to find who was involved in certain situations.
Yeah, but
because
then there's a lot of
dye-
people who are just innocent bystanders and covered in blue dye and they get arrested as well. So it's misguided to justice there as well. So it's not exactly exact science.
that could happen. Someone rioting and some normal person just tries to walk past and they get arrested
But
because
you know, we've not actually even addressed the source of the protest, not really about why so many people are hitting the streets, why they feel that there's an injustice taking place. Now, I know that it's about illegals and that ICE is involved, and there's a lot of people protesting ICE taking illegals out of the state. Here, would you, if you've got your finger on the pulse, do you feel like there is a lot of support in California in terms of the people you know for more ICE involvement in removing illegals?
to be honest, I think a lot of it's funded, these things, right? Because every person I talk to, they all agree. See in California, right? California and a lot of jobs, right? It's very hard for Americans to get jobs because what happens is you've got Mexicans, they're very hard workers in a lot of jobs, right? A lot of them work 3 and 4 jobs just to be able to pay the rent. That's how little they get paid, right? So it's kind of like when the Polish
Why
went to
don't you
the
support a
UK.
minimum wage? Do you support legislation to introduce a minimum wage?
Well, they do have a minimum wage, but the thing is, it doesn't matter how big your minimum wage is. It's never going to catch up with what the rent is. You're talking about the rent for a house in California.
What is the minimum wage in California?
I think it might be $10 an hour.
Hugh, the minimum wage in Scotland is like £10 or something like that. £12. That's nothing. $10 is absolutely nothing. That's a disgrace.
But what I'm saying is, but in California,
it should be 3 times that in California.
Yeah, things are about 4 times more expensive. Sometimes 5. When I lived in Glasgow,
the dollar is weaker than the pound. So if the minimum wage in Scotland is about £13-14, you would expect the minimum wage in a place like California to be about $20.
But to be fair, well, you have a sort of state that basically has like licensed shoplifting if it's under a certain amount of money. So
I think if it's just if it was slightly under $1,000, but basically what a lot of the stores were doing is they've got AI cameras and basically people stealing. It calculates it. It remembers what they stole before and remembers what they stole the next time. And then suddenly when it gets to that $1,000 or something like that, they get arrested. But I think that was encouraging people to steal by saying, you can steal up to 1,000.
So there's a wee bit of practice outside there.
Yeah, it was encouraging people to steal because they were thinking we could go in and steal stuff, and if we get caught, we get caught. But we can steal up to $1,000 worth of stuff before they'll prosecute us. We'll just get let out with no a slap in the wrist, no criminal record, right? So it sets.
But Hugh, do you not think if there was a proper minimum wage in place that would stop people wanting to go out and stealing? Because if you're getting a proper income, then you've got no reason to steal.
It's like what's happening with the Mexicans is, right, when they come in and they're illegal, a lot of the what they should do is they should make it illegal for companies to employ these people because that's where the problem lies. Like they'll give the Mexicans they'll give the Mexicans the work before Americans because they can do cash on the hand because they don't have a social security number, so they can't declare the thing to pay tax and that, right? So, for one, the government gets less money because they're not paying tax, and the next point as well, it takes work away from the the people who are citizens of the country, right, and the state. When all this stuff's happening with ICE and all that, it's like when all this stuff's happening with ICE and stuff like that, a lot of people are in support of the whole ICE. I mean, to the fact there was that joke someone says, it's I like my tea with lots of ice, like in California and stuff like that. You know, making jokes. It's and it was the same.
It's different a Mexican and a stoner. Stoners always have their papers.
Yeah, these jokes haven't got any better, have they, Vinny? Yeah, so it's like
I think the minimum wage in Pennsylvania is like something like $7 an hour.
Yeah.
What is it with America in terms of like wage slavery? I mean, you got rid of slavery in the 19th century and you replaced it totally with wage slavery. And then, you know, you've got migrants that are coming in working for basically nothing, being exploited by, you know, a class
okay,
of
I actually found it. You listen, Gareth. So the minimum wage in California basically apparently is supposed to be in 2025. It's going up to $16.50, but a lot of the Mexicans, they're paying them like $8 and $10 an hour under the table.
So basically, Mexicans get half the price, do twice as work, and companies keep half the profit.
And see, the whole thing is, right, the Democrats being the party that was all about slavery and stuff like that, right? They're still enslaving people, you know. It's like in America, you're supposed to have pursuit of all happiness and stuff like that, right? There can't be happiness if you're working 4 jobs just to be able to pay your rent, you know. And now, see the store yous have got in the UK called B&Q, right? I think it's the same company that owns. I think they own Home Depot out here because they use the same outfit and stuff like that. So out here, if you go to Home Depot in the morning, you see all the Mexicans all hanging outside it. And basically what they're doing is they're waiting because you'll get contractors that will come along and say, listen, I need help to build this house. Do you want to come and work for us? So basically, I went to Home Depot this morning to buy silver cream for cleaning all my silver. And I only seen 3 Mexicans there. Usually there's loads of them. And I think they're
Sorry.
Yeah, I think because there's a lot of them worried that ICE is going to. In fact, I think ICE had done it at one of the other locations, but not this one, right? They've been going to Home Depot and stuff like that because they know a lot of the illegals are hanging out there for cash in hand work, you know, to get picked up. So when I went there today, there was only 3 people. You know, usually there's loads of them. There's about 50 of them all hanging around looking for work, but there was only 3 people there today.
Do you think those 3 are maybe undercover ICE agents or something? More than likely.
No. And another thing as well, what you guys call the car boot sales, we call them swap meets out here. And a lot of the swap meets you go to as well, one of them actually cancelled last week because they were saying the fear of getting raided off of ICE. And then one of the swap meets at the weekend that I went to the Cyprus one, full of illegal Mexicans and stuff like that, right? So it's like, and biggest majority of them run stalls. It's not like in the UK where people are selling it from their home. 90% of the stalls at the swap meets out here are vendors, you know, and a lot of them are cash in hand. They're not legal in this country, so I think a lot of them are starting to feel uneasy that ICE could do raids on these swap meets. And as I says last week, it's like one of them got raided and they took a lot of people away, you know.
You know, I don't understand why there are people who get so, you know, animated by the issue of illegal immigration, yet they still vote for the Democrats or the Republicans. I mean, when you take Ronald Reagan alone, did he not give amnesty to illegals in his first term as president? I mean, given something like how many was it? It was millions of illegals citizenship, and he's a Republican. Right. And then if you look at the amount of illegals that came under George W. Bush,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter whether you're a Democrat, whether you're a Republican, they are both benefiting and exploiting the illegals.
Well, a lot of these senators are actively saying that they hire illegals
and it's the same here. It's the same in Europe.
Oh, yeah.
The legal immigration we're swamped with, so I don't understand why you can continue to vote for a political class that is letting you down and betraying you each time. Each electoral cycle, they give you promises and they disappoint. Why are you?
I just want to say this, touching on that, Venice, right?
Are you a Republican here?
Yeah, but listen, see when you go to Los Angeles, right? There's nice parts of Los Angeles, but some of it you wouldn't fucking walk through during the daytime, let alone nighttime. It looks so fucking rough, right? You see the roads are all cracked, spray painting on the walls and all that stuff, and you think to yourself, is this what these people are voting for? I mean, see in the UK, right? The way I used to think when I lived in the UK, right? You get these people that would say, "Oh, I'm Labour," or "I'm Conservative," and all that sort of, or "I'm a Liberal" in the UK, and they would only vote for one party. They would say, "Because my mum and dad voted for that party, I'll vote for them." And I was always the person that says to people, "I don't give a flying feck if you supported Conservatives all your life or Labour. If they fail with their promises, vote someone else, give someone a chance, because they're taking your vote for granted, right?" They do the same thing.
Do you not feel it's the same for Republicans, though? They're taking your vote for granted.
I don't think so, but a lot of Republicans. It's like a lot of Republicans do want a lot more done than what's getting done, and I understand. And a lot of things can only be done by the power of the party and not individuals, right? And when things go for votes at the Senate and stuff like that, right? You always have some Republicans that will turn their back and they'll vote with the Democrats on certain things, or they'll just not vote at all. And then certain things don't get pushed through. That's very frustrating.
So do you blame the process, the administrative process of electoral politics and governance in America then? Or if that's the case, then why vote Republican? Because therefore, no matter what party you vote for, the administrative and governance process is going to prevent the actual system from real reform and real change in the policies that you're wanting from being put through. That's why
at the moment, most of the stuff Donald Trump says he's going to do, he's got done. But
no, that's complete nonsense. The only thing I can point to that Trump's really accomplished is cutting the massive amount of illegals that were crossing the border.
The thing I'm disappointed with Trump, the only thing I can say I'm disappointed in Trump is I think Edward Snowden should be pardoned, and I think Julian Assange should be pardoned too. This is what his base wants.
He also did say he would end the Russia-Ukraine war. He hasn't. He said he would end the Gaza Hamas-Israeli conflict. He hasn't. He said that he would declassify the Epstein files. He hasn't. He also hasn't got his signature bill yet passed in Congress, which I'll be honest, I'm skeptical it's going to even happen. He didn't. His project of Doge failed. He didn't cut the $2 trillion at all. He didn't. He only cut. He just cut discretional spending. So apart from the stuff at the border, what can you point to that he got done?
See the whole thing with Doge, right? It's like
no. What can you point to that he got done?
biggest majority of stuff he says, apart from all the Doge stuff, the main thing is people wanted the Pentagon audited.
No. Okay, what can you point to that he got done?
We wanted the gold thing audited as well. You know.
What can you point to that he got done?
The main thing is he's sealed the border. He stopped the
Apart from the
fentanyl.
border, I would give him credit for that. Apart from the border, what has he got done that he promised us?
Stopped fentanyl coming into the country.
No, he hasn't stopped fentanyl coming in. No, he hasn't stopped that coming in.
No. It's down to a very minimum, because now they're going after them in Mexico, because the thing is, China is supplying the fentanyl to the cartel.
How much fentanyl came into the United States in 2025?
I seen it on the news not long ago, but
Okay, how much fentanyl came into the United States in the first few months of 2025 compared to the first few months of 2024? How much?
So, are you saying how much came in or how much was seized? I think
how much has came into the country, or has been seized? Both that we're aware of. How much has been seized by Border Patrol, whoever it is responsible for?
I'm not too sure, but it's getting seized.
That's why I'm asking. I don't know. But
I don't know, but it's supposed to be all the way down, because obviously you can't.
Who said it's all the way down? Who said that?
No, I'm just saying.
I was listening to Kash Patel, who's the director of the FBI, and he was maintaining that it's still the biggest problem that the FBI is dealing with, fentanyl trafficking into the United States. By the sound of Kash Patel, it didn't sound like they had their grip on it at all.
No, I think he has. I think because they're seizing it. That's the thing. They know how much is coming in, because it's getting seized as it's coming in. Whereas before, it's
so what about the amount that's not been seized? What about?
I mean, we'll never tell. I mean, we can base things based on how much has been seized. But
you could also base it on the amount of Americans. You could also base it on the amount of Americans that have died by fentanyl overdose. So has the amount of Americans died of fentanyl overdose decreased in 2025 or increased so far?
I think, I'm not too sure, but I mean, it's not going to be something that's going to happen within a few months of Trump being into and analyze.
You just said it, did you? You just literally said that he got the fentanyl situation right down in the first few months. You just said that.
That's what it is. Fentanyl thing coming into the country, yes.
But if the amount of fentanyl deaths is increasing, not decreasing, then it's not.
Numbers don't add up.
What's that?
If the amount of fentanyl deaths is increasing, not decreasing, then it's not.
It's like, you got to remember, it's like a lot of people that die with.
But if the amount of fentanyl deaths, if that's increasing, not decreasing, then they've not brought down the amount of fentanyl that's going into the country.
It's like people die with drugs because of the withdrawals and stuff like that. It's not just taking the drug; it's the withdrawals that kills people too. You know, trying to get off it. And I've actually seen someone on fentanyl, and they were literally on the ground, and they were like a shivering wreck. You know, it's like, I've never seen a drug doing this to someone. You know,
well, I have. But
in the UK, I'd never seen the effects of fentanyl, because
fentanyl's not a big issue here.
What's that?
Yeah, fentanyl's not a big issue. But my point is, like, so what can you point to? Because Donald Trump, right, the amount of fentanyl deaths isn't going down, so we're not tackling the fentanyl issue. Unless the deaths go down, we're not tackling it. So apart from the issue at the border that has improved thanks to the Trump administration, but apart from
this is what it's saying. It says overall the trend, and I mean, this is Google, so I can't trust Google 100%, but I'll see what it says. Right. Overall, the trend regarding fentanyl in the United States in 2025 is complex, with some indicators suggesting a decrease in certain areas,
An
particularly among
increase in
young
certain areas.
people.
And what? An increase in what? Fentanyl deaths.
No, listen, I'm just reading it. I've never read this yet.
Hey,
It
what
says
did you type?
suggesting
What did you type in? Good.
type 10 is fentanyl down in 2025. So it's
What does
probably
that
going
mean?
to tell us.
Fentanyl down. What does that even mean?
Well, I'm going to find out what it says. So, with the indicators suggesting a decrease in certain areas, particularly among younger people, while the overall threat remains serious. Here are some summaries available for the information. It says the CDC reported a significant decrease in drug overdose deaths, including those related to fentanyl in 2024. So the CDC, but in saying that, I don't trust. But in saying that, I don't trust anything the CDC says anyway. But the CDC is saying it's down, right? But as I say,
under Biden, it's down, not under Trump.
and it says fentanyl deaths are specifically among young Americans are showing a significant drop. It says uneven progress despite the overall.
Under Biden, not under Trump.
No, let's ask.
It was under Biden.
What's that? Sorry.
It was under Biden in 2024. The Trump inauguration was in January 2025. So this was under Biden.
Okay, listen, the positive momentum continued into October 2024, right?
Yeah, so that's under Biden.
Yeah, so it has went down even under Biden towards the end. I'm going to say that.
So what has Donald Trump done?
And this
what has his administration accomplished apart from bringing down illegal immigration at the border?
I mean, look how he stimulated the economy. Look at all
the U.S. credit rating has went down under Donald Trump because of his tariffs.
No. Yes. It's hit record levels. If you follow,
the credit rating was downgraded under Trump.
I know that, but when you look at the S&P 500 and everything like that,
that's the stock market. I'm talking about its credit rating.
Right. So,
I mean, you can say a credit rating, but every country in the world someone can say America's credit rating, but other countries in the same scenario as well. So it doesn't make us any less than the other.
Question about it. The United States has got
been up 0.4 million and it was in 2024.
2025.
It was 3.05 million, and 2025 is 3.09 million.
So it's went up. Did you hear that? Fentanyl deaths have went up under Donald Trump.
I mean, I don't know that. I don't believe everything I read in the thing. I mean, I would find it hard to believe. It's because you got to think, right? It's like if you're making it harder for people to get into the country, of course they're going to go down. It's not going to go up. But there's a lot of misinformation.
So why did you cite fentanyl as something he's accomplished?
It's because a lot of the fentanyl was coming over the border. It wasn't just coming over port of entry. It was coming over the border. Obviously now people can still climb the fence and bring stuff over, but they're quickly apprehended when they come over.
But the amount of fentanyl deaths is up. So obviously there's fentanyl coming into the country if it's not been seized.
I don't believe everything that we read in Google because it's like
that was Dr. Google.
That was Dr. Google is what's he accomplished apart from the border?
Just let me say this right. You listen. So if you own a bank and if you own a bank in LA and you leave the doors wide open, safes wide open, and everything like that, guess what's going to happen? Next day you're going to come back and all the money and gold and silver's gone, right? But if you secure that bank and you keep
Not in
it locked, then
Clydebank.
guess what?
Not in Clydebank.
It makes it harder for people to achieve that theft that they want to do, right? So you've got to think to yourself, there is a lot of misinformation. There was a lot of information out there about the COVID vaccines and all that before, right? So we know it can be manipulated, right? So just as I said about the bank, it's like if you lock the door, then you're cutting away the easy opportunity someone has to actually achieve what they want. And Trump says it's coming down from Canada too. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yes,
I've
with
not
Cash Patel. Cash Patel said that.
Yeah, so
think-
coming down from Canada, and obviously,
But regardless
the
of where
Marines
it's
want them
coming
bringing
from,
in stuff with a little submarine as well and stuff like that.
regardless of where it's coming from, the situation ultimately is you define the situation when it comes to drugs. If a situation is improving by how many people are dying of drugs, how many people are addicted to drugs, and the number of people who are dying as a result of fentanyl has went up, according to the numbers. So he has failed so far on that. So let's
And
go.
where are you getting these numbers from?
After where did you get
You're
that?
I was actually Google.
Can you do me a favor? Can you get Gareth to share it on the screen?
If I can bring it back up again.
I mean, I did say earlier on, I didn't want us to be looking at the
Yes,
phones.
I apologize.
Yeah, but I think it's important. I mean, because as I says, during the whole COVID thing with the vaccine and stuff like that, they manipulated everything on the internet.
Yeah,
So this is why I says I don't trust everything on the internet because it can be manipulated. But basically, I can't see that, Gareth. Kind your head shine. It's like, but all I'm saying, I can't see it. It's just white because I think it's on the screen. So basically, what I'm saying is, it's like obviously you think if you make it harder for people to do a certain thing, then their objective is harder to achieve. You know.
I would say that Trump has succeeded when it comes to sort of reducing DI programs and sort of that whole sort of woke toxic culture. And
see another thing as well, Gareth, right? Another thing that I forgot to mention to Vinny as well, right? So
he's still not giving me anything.
I'm going to give you this as well, right? One major thing in California as well is the MS-13, right? It's like it's gangs that are basically cartel members in California, right? And they kill people and stuff like that, right? There's people that are rapists.
Is this like the Maryland dad? The Maryland dad?
It's like these people have got that connect them to the cartel and stuff like that group, right? Now, Trump's main thing, he says, the border patrol's going after, first of all, was the cartel, right? Because the cartel are the ones that's bringing all these drugs into the country as well. And to this point as well, Donald Trump's been in talks with the president of Mexico, saying that she had says that she would give the thumbs up if America wanted to hit the cartel in Mexico, because the cartel is so powerful. They've got people involved with the politicians and stuff like that.
They run entire towns and communities, like they are the law essentially.
So it's like I think basically what Donald Trump wants to do with the cartel is basically what he done with ISIS. It's pretty much. It's like you destroy them to the point that everyone that's someone gets killed, another person.
What country was responsible? What country was responsible for most attacks against ISIS? It wasn't the United States or Great Britain, by the way.
Well, no, it's most of it was coordinated by the USA. The Brits were helping the USA, right? It was under the one commander, most of the attacks. Britain was doing attacks, but they were working together, right? So it's like America. Remember, America were dropping the mother of all bombs on them on the mountains and stuff like that, completely wiping them out in their tunnel networks and stuff like that, right? Hello. Hello. Hello.
What happened?
If he comes back on. What happened to you there?
I don't know. Used to just disappeared. You know.
But what I was saying before there was that glitch in the Matrix is it was an alliance between Russia, Hezbollah, and Iran that defeated ISIS. Where did you get the information that it was a United States?
I don't think it was, because America were dropping the mother of all bombs on the mountains and taking out their tunnel networks and stuff like that, their ammunition dumps.
That sounds about how you
And then the whole thing with ISIS, every time one of their leaders got killed, they would move someone next in command into their position, then they would get killed, and then it kept happening to the point
you are aware that it was the United States who were funding ISIS. While Russia was bombing ISIS and destroying them, the United States was doing Operation Sycamore, creating it.
I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be surprised if
created ISIS.
Just let me say. I mean, to be honest, America has got the, there's a government, and then there's
do you know what Operation Sycamore is?
I've not heard of it, but
Operation Sycamore was the project that involved the United States through its intelligence agencies training up al-Nusra and all these Islamic terrorist organizations that were in Syria. And this is like the cauldron that ISIS basically was created in. And what was happening is that ISIS and all these other Islamic groups were sweeping through Syria, and they reached Damascus. And it was at that point that Russia intervened, Iran intervened, and Hezbollah, and they ended up pushing ISIS back. What happened with the United States later on is that when Donald Trump was elected, he changed the US government's policy on ISIS, and he began a bombing campaign, especially in Iraq, because ISIS moved into Iraq.
So as I says, there's a shadow government that does things and all that stuff. I mean, there's Lindsey Graham, for instance, right? Donald Trump's trying to do peace talks, and I think it was Turkey. I think it was, right? And at the same time, Lindsey Graham's and Ukraine one day before.
He's not part of a shadow government. He's a United States senator.
We don't. He can be a senator, and he can be part of the shadow government.
He's in the closet, all right. He's part of a.
See, in order for him, let's ask Gareth. In order for him and the other one to be over there doing that stuff, apparently it went against the US Hatch Act, they call it, right? So what I'm saying is, the shadow government can do stuff. I mean, basically, look what happened with bin Laden. America trained bin Laden and basically funded his
No,
terrorist
no,
group.
this wasn't just a shadow project. But do you remember back when Barack Obama was president? Barack Obama was about to launch a bombing campaign on the Assad government. You had the parliamentary debate in the House of Commons over here, and I think it was, who was it who was against it? Who? Oh, I think, was it Miliband? Was it Miliband? And they voted it down, and that basically shot. That was the death nail in the coalition of the willing. But no, it was official government position at one point, the United States government position, to bomb Assad and not ISIS. And this was concurrent with Operation Sycamore. So
See, the whole thing that was happening in Syria, right? Yeah, I mean, I've not looked at it for a while, but you had ISIS, right? But you also had other groups as well, right? They were all fighting each other, right? And basically, one of the groups, basically America was funding. They were pretty much, America shouldn't be sending any weapons to any person based on because they think they're on our sides. Because usually, just like Bin Laden, they turn around and they use the weapons on us, So it's like I just think it's like we've got too many warmongers, in the political circle. They want us to go to war. They've got lobbyists from all these,
you know what I don't like?
like Raytheon and all that stuff, right? So we do
Sure.
their bidding. Yeah.
Hugh, do you know what really gets me? And Americans do this a lot. Whenever a country like Russia or any other, or China conducts a military operation in a state, they say it's the Chinese government. But when the United States do it, they say it's the deep state.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, man? But
the thing is, it's like, I mean, the thing is as well, a lot of Americans would agree with this as well, and even Donald Trump says it as well, right? We want America to concentrate on us and stop involving ourselves in other
why
people.
is he sending
weapons to Ukraine?
I won't think so. So you got to remember
back in Iran,
this.
No, back
I
in
know, but listen. So the USAID, right? Apparently, a lot of that money was getting used for doing a lot of shady stuff in a lot of countries if they were trying to overthrow a government and stuff like that.
Development, American style, just like
it's like
style.
we've seen the movie. It's like we've seen the movie Team America. I think sometimes people want that to be a reality. But in saying that, Americans just want or attack. I mean, see, ever since we started going to war with Iraq and stuff like that, right? And now all of a sudden America's got bases all around the world, and so does the UK. It's like they
had bases all over
the amount of debt we've got ourselves into because we're fighting multiple wars or soldiers at every corner of the world. I mean, Americans want that money spent here. They want us to stop involving ourselves in other countries' problems, because if other countries...
Why do you continually vote for political parties that involve you in wars in other countries then?
We only have... I mean, Donald Trump's the first person who's actually came out and he wants to create peace. He doesn't want wars. All the other presidents were... I won't say that this is why people call Trump's Republican MAGA, because he's all about America, whereas previous presidents for Republican and Democrats have always started wars,
Why is he electing to Redfield then?
What's that?
If he's all about America and America first, why is he so entangled with Israel?
Mm-hmm.
I think the whole Israel thing, I think any funding for any funding for any country that's for wars, we should end it. I mean, Israel's always got money off the USA, and I think it's wrong. It's like when we think what that money could do out here, and I mean, Israel can afford to defend themselves because Israel's got it's like it's like when you look at all the technology that's being created with innovation in Israel, it's like it's the new Silicon Valley, right? So they've got some of the most amazing technologies out there, right? So they quite easily could fund any war themselves. Why do we need to give any money to the swap president to fund it? You know?
Yeah.
I just think.
Personally, I think we should. I mean, I think we should get rid of NATO for starters. I think
I think
NATO is an
they-
organisation with a house to call.
See, to me, I mean, there's Donald Trump's trying to create peace, right, between Russia and Ukraine, but at the same time, it seems like NATO is trying their best to try to escalate it, right? And
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, totally. And there's all these countries in NATO that are like nothing
Wait a
countries.
minute. Here's a question, Hugh. Do you think Trump was aware or authorised the attack on the Russian air bases? Operations.
I mean, I personally don't think he would, because I mean to me, he so wants this Nobel Peace Prize kind of thing. You know, he's trying his best because he says he would do it in one day, but with NATO content and trying their best, yeah, listen, but when you've got a place like NATO trying their best to try to escalate it, it makes it harder than he realized.
Trump could end that war in a couple of weeks, Hugh, in my opinion, or in a month. I think if Trump cut off all aid in terms of intel aid and military aid, that war would be over by the end of summer.
Why?
I don't think so, because basically, I mean, see the whole attacks on that airport and the airports in Russia, right, with the big bear planes were, right. It says they think that the satellite technology used to allow them to do that was NATO's technology, right? So it doesn't matter if you back from it if NATO is.
Was it not Starlink? For what I remember.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't Starlink.
It was US military satellites.
So basically, if Ukraine are allowed to do that, and you got to remember as well, someone in Ukraine had says, I think it took, that was a 1.5 year plan to do that.
I don't believe that.
I mean, it was very well calculated, right?
Do you know what makes me think Trump may have had some level
Because
of
they had
involvement?
bridges and that stuff as well. They had drone boats and all that stuff.
Yeah, but Hugh, do you know what makes me think? Do you know what makes me think Trump may have been involved? Just 1 week before the attack, he was saying Putin had gone crazy, and that if Putin doesn't stop the war, something bad's going to happen in Russia. And 1 week after Trump said something bad's going to happen in Russia, you had that attack.
The day before peace talks.
Now, if Trump was anyway involved in that, his judgment is too poor to be president, in my opinion. To launch an attack on the nuclear triad of the largest nuclear superpower in the planet is such bad judgment. Such bad judgment. If Trump is anyway involved in that guy should not be president.
I mean, anyone who's involved in an attack like that, I don't think
he's president, man. If he was involved in that.
I think anyone who would be for that attack, because at the end of the day, it's like, it's like as Starmer had turned around and says, which no one likes this guy anyway, right? It's like it's like the way to deter is through strength, right? Now, when Russia was attacked and those planes were taken out, that's part of their strength. So now Russia's thinking, well, some of our nuclear delivery systems have been taken out. So is that going to weaken us, so that if someone attacked us, how are we going to respond, you know? And to be honest, they don't even need the airplanes. They've got enough nuclear weapons to wipe the entire planet out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, you've got Starmer saying we should be ready, and it's almost like he wants the UK to go to war with Russia, which that's okay for him. If I mean, see during the times of John Major and stuff like that, right? John Major went in the front line to visit troops and all that stuff, right? He wasn't fighting in it, right? But he still visited the front line, right?
Major.
Starmer wouldn't do that. He's a coward, you know. He's a coward, you know. He's okay other people's sons and daughters getting sent to.
John Major, he had a dodgy curry as well, did he not?
What was that? Sorry.
He had quite a dodgy curry as well.
Curry?
Who's that?
He had an affair with Edwina Curry, who's another Conservative member of Parliament.
I just think that it was very, very suspicious that Trump said 1 week before the attack something bad's going to happen in Russia.
Yeah, he did.
Why did they say that?
Just before peace talks, and then
I mean, to be honest, I mean, maybe Trump's intel basically told him he thought NATO or someone was going to do something, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he knows the details of an attack, right? But
if you want military
it just felt so weird that there was a Democrat and a Republican in Ukraine together one day before when that happened, and then Lindsey Graham had said something, I can't remember, that kind of hinted that something could happen. And to me, it's like a lot of people say he should be booted out of his position because that's going behind the president's back. And they spent about $580,000 on a plane and all the luxury.
What has President Trump done to Lindsey Graham? If Lindsey Graham was going behind his back, he's done nothing.
I mean, something definitely needs to get done. I agree that something needs done because a lot of Republicans have said that too. Something needs done about Lindsey Graham.
Did you say it was NATO satellites or it was NATO that was doing it? Because as far as I'm aware, NATO doesn't have its own independent satellite technology. The United Kingdom and France uses the American satellites to basically navigate their Storm Shadows and their Scalp missiles. They don't have their own independent military satellites.
It doesn't matter. If the satellites are American, if the satellites are American,
because they need the codes. They need American authorization.
If it's like America is part of NATO. America was the one that started NATO, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure if other NATO countries can do something without alerting the other what they're doing.
Why did you say it was NATO, not the United States?
It's kind of like this, right? You know the UK, right? The UK use a Trident system, right, which is to deter through the sea with the submarines with the nuclear tips and all that stuff, right? That's an American system, right? The Trident, right? But the thing is, if the UK was to use that stuff, America doesn't necessarily most likely have the power to know the UK is going to launch an attack against someone, right? The same as where they share the same thing.
They literally need to get the code from America to use the Trident system.
If they're using the satellite technology, it doesn't mean that every country
you are aware that the British don't have their own satellites to operate the Storm Shadows. Neither do the French. Neither does NATO. They are all using American satellites. It's America that did it.
No, it's like they can use these. They can use the satellites.
Not without American permission.
I don't think so, because if they have to defend themselves in a nuclear conflict, they need to be able to use satellite to deliver their systems.
You can check this up if you want. The missiles that Britain. Do you know what a Storm Shadow missile is?
Yes, I've seen it.
Right. Do you know who used the Storm Shadows against Russia?
I heard Russia was threatening if they got used. Yeah.
No. Do you know who used them on a regular basis against Russia? Could have been used against Russia for over a year now.
I'm going to
What's that?
the Storm Shadow missiles, right, and the Scalp missiles and the ATACMS missiles use the same satellites. Now, you know that the Storm Shadows are British, right? The Scalps are French and the ATACMS are American, and they all use the same satellites.
Which,
Now, here's an interesting thing here, right? When Donald Trump was elected, he stopped the British from firing those missiles into Russian territory because they were using the American satellites. So the British can no longer fire the Storm Shadows into Russia
without American permission.
because Trump stopped their permission. So you're wrong.
Well, the thing is, as well, it's like, I mean,
So it's America that attacked Russia. It's not
nothing to do with
NATO, mate.
Yeah.
I don't think it's them, but it's like the Pentagon. Basically, I mean, it's like the Pentagon, which is so corrupt. I mean, even Jeff Bezos has got his finger in the door and all that stuff with the Pentagon, right? It's like, and then you had that guy Milley, who worked for the Pentagon as well, right? He was trying to defy Donald. He was trying to defy Donald Trump, and basically he was in communication with a Chinese counterpart and stuff like that. He was in a similar position and all that stuff, which he tried to downplay, but they were still doing it behind the president's back, right? So I do believe there's a lot of people in the background in the Pentagon that would help one of the other countries they want to help, maybe without the president actually knowing, or certain political figures.
Anonymity. You could be given a level of anonymity, so you could be told there's an attack about to take place, but you won't tell them the details.
So I think maybe Donald Trump was, maybe he knew there was a chance something could happen, but because there's a lot of people, because we've had problems with the FBI and all that, and now all of a sudden they found a secret room in the FBI headquarters and stuff like that, where all the plans and stuff like that was, and all their wrongdoings. The Pentagon, I believe, is probably the same as well, where there's people that can help other countries without the government actually knowing about it,
Hugh. Gav Johns just alerted me this show's been almost got 3 hours. Yeah. So,
and also, I just
we really have like covered the gamut in this one, but yeah, man, it's been an interesting conversation. The introduction I'm a bit disappointed with, but again, that was my cat trying to distract me and I lost my train of thought. But apart from that, I've enjoyed the conversation and I hope that the listeners enjoy it. And tomorrow, me and Gareth John are going to see Jimmy Dore in Glasgow. Do you know Jimmy Dore, Hugh?
No, I've not heard of him.
Jimmy Dore is he's an American political comedian. He's really big, man. Like,
yeah. We've also got
if you send a link, I'll check him out. If you send a link, I'll check him out.
Yeah, he's got his own show on like Rumble and YouTube. He's really popular, real good, real funny. I think you'd enjoy his stuff. In fact, you look a wee bit like him.
No, he doesn't look like Jimmy Dore.
If you going down a wee bit.
Let's turn the screen so I can see you.
So now, see.
Like the glasses and the.
See that's one thing. Obviously, it takes you time to get used to when you move to America. It's like you're used to people like Jimmy Carr and all that stuff, all these comedians, and Michael McIntyre and stuff like that. And then when you come to America, it's like the stand-up comedians' humor is not quite the same. So it's like when I laugh at things, when I watch, it's like when I watched the movie Bruno.
Gareth John, let's finish.
Hey Gareth, so when I watched the movie Bruno out here the first time, which has got the guy that plays Ali G, I was pissing myself laughing when it first came out. But people were looking at me as if they just didn't get it. They didn't understand that kind of humor, you know. So I think the humor out here for comedians and movies and all that is different. I mean, we get away with so much more in the UK. I mean, Americans, when they go on talk shows, they're shocked of how much swearing, or they can talk about tampons and all that stuff on the shows, and they're like, in America we can't talk about all that stuff, you know. So they're kind of shocked, you know. But as I say, apart from Dennis Leary, No Cure for Cancer, he's the biggest comedian.
What's that? Forgiven, you know. Yeah, kind of decent. I mean.
Right, I'm going to wrap it. I'm going to wrap it up because I've been sitting down like for almost 3 hours, and my posture's starting to affect my circulation or something like that. So I'm trying. I want the rice.
What are you sitting on? Are you sitting on Are you sitting on one of those 80s space hoppers?
L-shaped sofa.
It's a big L-shaped sofa I'm on, and Gareth John's on the other end.
Are you using the same location?
Yeah. We're filming from the same house.
We're in our secret bunker. You know.
It's the apocalypse bunker, yeah.
But you see, we've got
the junkie Ned apocalypse bunker. Yeah.
You shouldn't say that, Hugh.
Are they still hanging around the central station?
I'll be honest. I've not been to Glasgow. Anyway, Hugh, stay safe and stay cool.
Yeah, I'm just dreading going to Los Angeles because I just got offered a new job. I can't say what it is now, but it's a very basically, the first thing I said when I was offered the job today, I says, "Do I need to drive to LA anytime soon?" And she's like, "No, not really. It's going to be over the phone." So my big thing is I don't want to drive into LA and then get caught in the riots in the street and get my car smashed up, you know.
Hugh, how does the audio and the visual sound? Is it improved from previous episodes?
I think it has, but sometimes I don't know what it is. It's like sometimes the voice comes across, and I know it's not because you don't have a microphone right to your face, but sometimes it feels like the microphone's very, very close, where it sounds a bit static, you know.
Is that when Gareth John is speaking or myself?
When you're speaking as well, but Gareth's is been slightly worse, kind of thing.
Yeah, Gareth, I've noticed that with Gareth, his is different. It's a different type. It's a Bluetooth. But Gareth John he's been shouting a lot in this episode. So because the microphone's so close to him, every time he's raising his voice, not shouting, but when he's raising his voice, it's causing that.
I do have quite a bassy voice.
You don't have a bassy voice, Gareth. Why don't you try to make it? Do you think he's got a bassy voice? Yeah.
Got a voice like he's got Tourette's syndrome, you know.
Hey. Those tests came back inconclusive 3 times. Okay? I'm not actually joking. Like 3 times inconclusive, and I'm like, maybe it does.
Yeah, but to be honest, it's like myself, because I used to own Power One Studios in Scotland, right? It's like sometimes it's the layout of the room that can be affecting the acoustics, you know. So it might well be that maybe having the curtains closed or something like that, simple things like that, it might tighten the sound kind of thing.
Yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invest in a new microphone. It's going to cost me about £150, but so he has a different one because, as I said, he's got this tendency to raise his voice, and because the microphone's attached to his lapel, it causes that, that staticky noise disruption. And
I'm not even aware that I'm raising my voice. I do.
You're a bit excited. I'm sorry. It's an exciting moment.
It's an exciting show.
He's saying some he's very controversial, this guy, So I can understand why.
It's like, see, basically the best microphone for your budget would probably be the Lewitt LCT 240 Pro. It's one of the best microphones for its budget, and at the moment, it's
not an advertising. Anyways, we got to go, man.
I got to go, Q, because I really got to move because.
Okay, I've got to go. Okay, bye.
Good
Have a
job.
good one, right? Bye. Bye.
Give John play Moscow.
Oh,
The train said Moscow as I stood against the wall, stranded in Warsaw with no one to call. I needed to get there before the heat came down. I knew that my future lay deep down in the underground.